Well, good morning. It's Buddha in your landfill or Zen Live, and I'm going to the beach this weekend, so I'm not sure if I'll be doing Zen Live while I'm down there, but we'll be back Monday evening, so I'll see you Tuesday morning, if not at Martini time at 5. So what I wanted to talk about today is something that should concern everybody, and that is, what is thinking, and why do we get caught up in compulsive thinking? Anybody ever try to stop thinking? You can't do it. So I wanted to look today at three types of thinking, and we'll start with random thinking or non sequitur thinking, which is just trash talk, just floating stuff. It's like floaters, just random, disconnected thoughts. The background, like the summer fireflies, or just stray birds flying through. That's the non sequitur thinking. And then we have logical thinking, which we use to solve problems and create systems. In fact, our whole civilization, Western civilization, has been built on logical thinking. So this is a very important point. And then the other type of thinking is what we call monoduologue. Now, a monoduologue, it's a paradox right there. Mono is one, duo is two. So a monoduologue is when you are thinking in a tape loop, talking to some specific person that maybe you just had an argument with, or to an imaginary person. But you're talking to somebody, and your thought is going in a circle, tape loop. So that's the duologue. You're talking to somebody in your mind over and over and over and over and over again, like when you try to find your keys in the house, and you keep looking in the same place over and over and over again. A monoduologue, and these are exhausting, and we think they're normal. They're not. Let's take a look at, we don't need the non sequitur stuff. I mean, that's just going to be there. Let's take a look at logical thinking and question whether or not this is the only thinking. Now, logical thinking is classical logic. It's classical thinking. It goes right back to Aristotle. Logical thinking has some fundamental principles to it. And the first principle is that A equals A. Now that means that this marker is a marker. The marker equals a marker. A thing is what it is. We just assume this. This is not questioned. A thing is what it is. That's A equals A. And the second principle, sub-principle, is that reality fits that. That reality is made up of things that are themselves. Art and dreams, metaphor, myth, fairy tales, movies do not use logical thinking. We'll get into that later. But then the idea here is that logical thinking is so fundamental to our civilization that we have begun to assume, and this logical thinking is objective, is the objective view of science. Objective view means that consciousness, you, view the world as objects which are equal to themselves. If suddenly the lamp over there becomes a monkey, you would think you're on LSD or something else. So everything is what it is, and we just assume that. We also get, oh, see, now this, if you're walking out in the backyard and you see a snake coiled there and you freak out and you run to the house, there's a snake out there, there's a snake, and someone else comes over and says, oh, it's just a coiled rope. The rope is what it is. But for a moment, it was a snake. So this logical thinking, see, sanity was restored when we saw that the rope was a rope. I was mistaken. Whew. The objective view sees the world as solid, fixed, all kinds of violent ways to escape it because you can't live in it. But let's take what if we added, what can we do about it? Well, I wanted to just be very simple today and not get too complicated. What does it mean to smile through? Smiling through is a Zen response. When you have worry and you have a monoduologue, you can smile through it. And that doesn't mean that you attack it or deny it or repress it or medicate it. It means you smile to it. So let's add a smile. Does this suddenly look like something that might be familiar? I was messing with this the other day, and I drew that, and then I said, "Holy cow! Look at that! Look what this is. It's the Om. See? Boom, boom. Add a smile, and you've got Om. Now, what is Om? Om is unity. Whole, one. Om. It's kind of like Om is the first word. Om, the reason it's chanted is because Om holds all the vowels. Starts at Om. Silence. It's a complete word. Everything is contained in Om. So Om is the one sound without a second. All sounds are contained in Om, you see? So Om is unity. This panic, worry thing is going because it's lost unity. Now, what is the cause of these monologues? They are caused by a tear or a wound. In other words, you have a transaction or encounter with somebody, and they either hurt you or you hurt them, but it's unfinished. You want to go back. There's a wound in there. There's a pain. There's a tear. Blood was spilled. You should have done it differently. Oh, if I could just go back and do it. If I could. Now I got to fix it in the future. So this is time. In other words, something happened in the past. Now my thinking is going, wow, 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 trying to bandage it, trying to wrap it up. It's running around this pain, running around this tear, you see, trying to heal it, but it can't. So it just keeps going faster and faster because that thinking, that's all thinking can do. So thinking tries to heal a feeling. See the separation here. Thinking, we have thinking, think and feeling. Okay, and the feeling is pain, and we want to get rid of pain because it's unpleasant. So we try to get rid of it. Do this. Yada yada yada. And I saw that, and that would start going. what does the monologue want to do? It wants to restore the lost unity, but it can't. So how do we restore lost unity, which is what worry is, what all fear is, all negative thinking is an attempt to restore lost unity. All desire is an attempt to restore lost unity. If I feel like I'm lacking something, I'm going to desire something that will restore unity so I don't have the pain of lacking. So desire, whatever it's for, prestige, power, fame, possessions, all of these desires are basically the monoduologue in worry, panic, and all of that is trying to find unity, but it can't find it. But you find unity when you notice the monologue and say, oh, there's that dragon again. Isn't that interesting? Let me smile at it. Let me just accept it. I'm okay. Let's just look at it. And smiling and looking at it put you outside of it. You can't smile when you're inside of it, you see. When you're in there, you're a me caught in the whirlpool of thinking, and you're being swept around it like the whirlpool in the Caribbean, the Pirates of the Caribbean. You're going around and around and around. But the smile, you see, comes from here. So if you just say, okay, I can't get out of it. That's the first step, is to realize that there's no exit here. You can't get out of a duo monologue with thinking, because thinking is eating itself. So you see that. I can't get out. Isn't that absurd? And you smile. And that very smile puts you outside of it. And that begins, and as soon as you're outside of it, you're not giving any energy to it. You see, when you identify with it, your identification with it says, I gotta worry, I gotta worry, I gotta worry. Your identification with it is giving it your lifeblood, your energy. Your energy of identification is feeding this hurricane. Starts out as a breeze, ends up as a tornado. Destroys everything. The smile disconnects your identification with it, because now you're smiling at it. So that means you are no longer feeding it. And when you stop feeding it, guess what? The clock winds down. As long as you keep winding this thing up, it's going to run. If you smile at it and say, okay, I can't get out. Let me just look at it. Let me just smile at this thing. That very act of smiling at it, which is rather radical, by the way, disconnects your energy identification with it, and it will begin to wind down because it has no existence. It's not real. It's a thought illusion. It's a thought whirlpool, you see. And its only reality is because we believe it. It's a reality believed in. And believed in means I identify with it. And that means I got the worry. So as soon as we drop that and just smile at it and say, I'm okay that it's here. I can't get out of it. Let me just smile at it. Om. You are back in unity, which is what you were trying to find in the first place. And this thing now drifts off into the Atlantic. You see, the hurricane drifts off and just dissipates in the Atlantic after it just tore your life up. Now it just drifts off because you're not giving it any energy. Okay, we'll stop there. I hope this gives you a little bit of insight and interest and curiosity into the Ouroboros of the dragon consuming itself, and how you can